Hey, Lamar.
Hey, hey.
You
What's
got these
going?
people out here ready to beat us up.
Hey, listen. I would challenge. I read everything you sent to me, and some valid points. I really do. Some valid stuff. But what I challenge most of these men, most of my guy friends, and any other man, be honest. Be real honest. It's like, I understand the guy that was saying about, hey, women's energy and stuff like that. And he's correct on some of those things. And I'm not saying that this is the courting age. This is not the we serious, this and that. Until you have that conversation that, oh, we exclusive. Yeah, you should be dating. I'm not gonna meet you today and just stop talking to everybody I know
But
because
wait, Lamar. That's what women do. We meet one man and we start dating him or talking to him for 2 weeks, and then we talk to him every night on the phone for a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks, and we start texting back and forth, and all of a sudden we think that's our man, and we cut everybody off, and nobody
right.
asked us to,
my
and then
cousin
we be mad.
my cousin just joined.
Oh, then we be mad, right? Listen, we assume after 2 or 3 weeks, and he said, "Hey, baby, good morning," blah blah blah, and then we go to the movies, we talk, whatever. So we assume after 1 or 2 dates, 3, 4 dates, or a couple months, that we're in a relationship. And the part that we have to learn as women is we are just dating. I don't know you after 8 weeks. I really don't. But women, we be leading with our emotions, so we get caught up in the 8 weeks, and all of a sudden that's my boo and that's my bae, and then we give him some booty. He ain't forced it, but we give him some booty, and then you really are man. So at first I said to you, no. And you said not sleeping with. I'm talking about actively dating. So,
Right.
and I don't understand why the men were up in arms when you said from the beginning, you said, Trey, you should actively be dating 3 men at least. Number 2, you said not sleeping
Yeah.
with. I said dating.
Yeah.
Number 3, you told the story about the woman, and you said, I'm honest. I'm not playing games. I think they got caught up in when you said the game, but you did the quotations.
Right.
I think they got caught up in that.
Right.
But I don't believe it's a game that you're playing. I believe
No.
that you really gave us.
What I was saying, the game is what we're doing, what we're going through. There is a game to be played. Not saying that I'm playing it or anything like that. There are games that are played. But if you are honest, a lot of that stuff goes away.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of the games go away. So a, a lot of women that I've dealt with since I've been divorced, they appreciate the honesty. They may not like the message, but they always come back and go, at least you're not a liar.
Oh.
And I'm just like, I'm too old to be trying to juggle and remember all of this stuff. So I am honest by default, whether you like it or not. So it's worked out for me. And once you get a taste of something going, dang, you didn't really react like that, then you can be honest. So I'm always honest now. And some people don't like it. Some people love it. Some women go like, it's refreshing, this and that. So I'm not trying, and it's respect. I don't throw anything. If you and I were dating and I had a date that night and you were like, hey, I want to see you. Say, oh, hey, I'm busy. I don't need to throw anything in your face. Like
Right.
that's not what I'm trying to do. But if you want to know and we have that type of friendship, cool. I'll tell you. But I have a good friend of mine, and we talk like that all the time. It's like, I don't understand the point. Until you're ready to get serious, until you as a man want to take that woman serious and get her off the market, man, date who the hell you want to date.
But you're right. And you said something that was so key for me, because I'm so used to dating one man, right? But you've just really opened up my eyes. So brothers, I'm so serious, and I'm 54 now. So you just opened up my eyes. No, because really I was like 3 men at one time. And then you're like, I didn't say sleep with them. I said you should be actively dating, going out, getting to know people. And then you said competition brings out the best in us. And I think that's another thing that made the men, like, I'm not going to be competing for no woman. But I interviewed this couple on my show, Love Lessons, right? And they were a younger couple. They probably in their 30s. And he was saying that he was playing games with her, but she was the one. And he was playing games. So he said she cut me off. Like, she was like, oh, that's your agenda? Okay, well, you go ahead and do what you're doing, and I'm going to see you when I see you. He said, he was like, I know you don't think you're not going to be talking. I know you ain't stopped picking up the phone for me or whatever. She was just like not answering him. Like, nah, you want to have your black book, you want to talk to all these women. Okay, that's cool with me, but that's not for me because that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
He said he went and tore up his black book. He went and got her, was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I want you. And he stopped the game. So, and they've been married, I think, for like 21 years now or something like. They've been married for a long time now. But he was like, hey, I think he's 13 years. He said, she stopped calling. She pushed back. Ain't none of them other women matter. Like, so it wasn't a game for her.
Right.
She just said, that's your agenda. That's what you want to do. Then go ahead. Go have at it. And Daryl was like, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, Daryl in a lane.
Real talk. Listen, I was married and in a relationship for 25 years. You know, a man knows when he meets a woman and he's just like, she has some good qualities. And then I'm talking about not all men. This is a very select percentage of men that done the work, been to therapy. They know what they want. They know the red flags. They can identify all that. That man is not going to be threatened by another man.
Oh,
he just not.
Oh.
You know, so it's just like if that's what you're worried about. I had a good friend of mine, and you can almost say we were dating, but she had options, I had options. I'm not worried about no other man. That doesn't faze me. You put me in a room with 100 men, I'm in the top 5%. So all you other dudes, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I know that's right. Listen, if you just came on, this is our follow-up talk from our show the week before last, and we were talking about dating, and Lamar said that women should actively be dating at least 3 men at a time. And he said, you should be honest and tell the men because men love competition and may the best man win. And basically all of the men came in having a heart attack. And then the women came in too. And they were like, I'm not about that life. And I said, and he clearly said on the program when we were talking, he said, not sleeping with, dating, getting to know people. And I think as women, one of our misses is Generation X women, because we're Generation X. We have Generation X conversations. And this is like, consider Lamar your big brother, your uncle, your dad, depending on what age you are, because he's telling the truth. And he hit me up. He hit me. But Generation X women, we have a problem with automatically getting connected to one man. And then when it doesn't last past 2 months or 3 months and he doesn't call anymore, we say he ghosted us, but he just don't like you anymore. And he was dating other women and you didn't win the prize, so to speak, because you decided to cut everybody off and he didn't. And nobody had the conversation that we're exclusive. And I tell women all the time, we have to stop assuming that we're in a relationship with somebody because we've been talking to them every day or dating them for 2 or 3 months, slept with them. We can't assume that we're in a relationship and a man has not stopped exploring his options because we've given him more of ourselves than we should have. So I'm listening because I've done this. I've assumed that I was more than I was to somebody.
Right. And so if you look at it like that and you just say, listen, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna do what you're doing, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you still got 2 other options. So if he ghosts you and you got 2 other guys, guess what? It doesn't hurt.
But that's why we hurt in Lamar, because we keep cutting off our options. And I'm gonna send a video that I posted to I love this couple, the Syfaxes, and they met on the dating site. And remember, you challenged me about that dating thing. We'll talk about that later. I didn't decide yet.
Right.
But they met on a dating site and they talk about the options on the dating sites, because when you're on a dating site, you're talking to multiple people. So why do people think it's not supposed to be like that in person, right? On the dating site, you're looking at profiles and you're saying, oh, let me hit this person up and see how they doing. Oh, I see that you like to work out. I see that you like to paint. Oh, you from New Jersey, blah, blah, blah. And y'all are talking, and then somebody hits you up and says, hey, I like your profile. Can we talk? And you're talking on all of these inboxes until you find somebody you really find synergy with, but you're really dating multiple people on the dating app, right?
Absolutely. I talked to one of my female friends yesterday, and just for giggles, I was just like, How many men are waiting in your inbox on Hinge? She's like, in 2 days, she had almost 100 dudes. I said, you know what? I said, you know how many I have? 0.
What?
And she was just like, are you serious? I said, look,
Oh, because we don't pursue men.
do not pursue, not like that. And
We don't.
that it's tough for men, you know. And I tell men all the time, it's like, listen, dude, you know, and it's like, if you want to be the best version of yourself, start in the gym. Start in the gym. That's it. You know, it's like, oh, I don't, you know, we men, we value money so much. You know, it's like, oh, money's got to be the first thing. No, it doesn't. There's a lot of things you can do as a man to make yourself more attractive. Get in the gym. Make sure you have a decent haircut. Your grooming, your hygiene is good. Take care of your teeth. Smell good, man. Like, dude, it's not that hard. It's like, it's really not. You know, but
you do need to have some money.
and you have, I mean, a little bit of money.
A decent job.
Yeah, decent job. Yeah,
we
yeah.
not out here gold digging.
Nah.
We don't want nobody that's a hobo that's looking for somewhere to live in the winter either.
Where's the cutoff with our generation? What's Generation X cutoff?
57. I believe it's 57.
How young?
40. I think it's 42.
Oh wow, that young. I wouldn't think it was that young.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense though. So between 42 and 57,
yes,
we are all, most, not all using outdated dating tactics.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, because think about it. Most of us are in a second, sometimes third relationship, marriage, whatever you want to call it. And you're thinking back to when you were 20, when you started dating, when you were 25 and started dating. Those rules don't work anymore.
Well, some of them, I mean, some things you don't want to, like, if you're like, more than likely, most women who are the older Generation X are more traditional than going into what these younger women are doing when it comes to dating. Okay. So we are a lot more traditional than. I just gotta plug my phone.
So that's you and I. So last time you and I talked at 54, because you are traditional, because you want certain things that may not be the majority of what's going on today, you may have to move up the scale. That's why I was trying to tell you, you should probably be dating 58, 59.
I told you I ain't dating now. I told you I don't want you to watch out there now. I don't want no man with his jeans up on his neck. I'm sorry.
You can find it. You just have to look. It's going to require some patience. It's going to require you to search. You're gonna have to search through the bull. I mean, if you want it, you got to search through the bull.
You're trying to make me date some. I'm sorry, and I don't mean this in any kind of way to older men, but I don't want no older man that's that much older.
Just try it.
I'm not doing it.
See, that's what I'm saying. That you have to, as a woman, you have to be willing to do something you didn't do yesterday. You know the definition of insanity, right? I'm not saying you're insane, but the definition of insanity.
You call me crazy.
You're doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's not it. You have to try something different. To be like, hey, you want to be married. You're not married, so do something that you don't want to do.
I'm not, like I said, I don't want an older man. I don't want a man. I want somebody closer to my age that I can relate to. That's all I'm saying. And I've experienced older men, and it wasn't, I'm not saying it was awful, but can we, we start talking for real. That's why this is why we be in trouble, because we start talking for real.
Okay, so what was the number one red flag with the older guy?
What I'm thinking about the number one red flag now, because an older guy, he was older than me when I was younger, but now I'm thinking that 10 years older than me, it starts to be like erectile dysfunction. Like, I'm still, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be caught up with somebody, and I gotta, because I love you, I gotta think, it's a lot for us to think about.
It is. So you want an older man that takes care of himself, that is a little bit more fashion forward. He can, he's not trying to be young, but he's within reason.
Right.
He's out there. You just have to have the patience.
I'm not trying to, and I know a lot of men talk about getting younger women, right? Because of some of the same reasons, like some older men who are enjoying life in a different way, like you're not an older man now.
No, I'm not.
There's some older men your age that are old, that act old.
Oh yeah, they're my
I'm not
buddies.
looking for that.
I go out with them all the time, but I mean
I go out with them all
yeah, I go out with them all the time. They're the typical older guy. I'm very thankful that the job that I have to know what's going on, and I'm younger. You know, I am younger. So I mean, it's going to vary by person, but if you identify what you want, if you know your red flags, if you're willing to be honest, and you're going to offend some people are going to walk away. But when you choose to be honest, it just feels better. You know,
I'm okay with them walking away.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be willing to let. And again, I don't think a man grows truly until you get the woman that you have fantasized about, and if she does something bad that is unacceptable, that's a red flag for you, that you let her walk away. Until you do that, you haven't done anything.
Oh, somebody said my hubby is 7 years older than me, and he is 50. I'm 43. So in 10 years, he'll be 60 and you'll be 53.
That's not that bad.
No, but I got to think about in 10 years. In 10 years, I'll be 64. If I have a man that's 10 years older than me, he'll be 74. Come on, Lamar.
So
work with me here. You laughing because the reality is.
So, and this is why I'm going to be honest. You know, this is just what I am. So I'm not a man that what I'm going to do what I say, not as don't do that. So it's like if I'm going to do it, you're going to do it. I'm going to be honest with you. So it's like, be honest, tell her what you're doing, let her figure it out. So I don't date younger women anymore because I had that realization is that I'm 20 years older than you. I'm 51 now, you're 31. In 20 years, I'm going to be 70 and you're going to be my age.
Right.
So if I choose to be with a woman and have that age gap, at some point, like you said, my man ain't going to work no more.
Right.
So I have to make a decision. If I want to be with this woman, I got to let her figure it out. You know, she's going to have to get a hall pass or something.
Oh, no.
You're going to have to grow as a man to really to understand those problems are going to come.
See, that's why I said we have to be kind of sort of on an equal age thing. I'm not giving hall passes.
And I've raised the age limit because of that.
Oh,
so
good.
I'm in the 37 to 45 range.
Right.
That's where I'm at. So it's like
better.
It's more relatable, so
yeah. So again, I just believe that there's a lot of stuff going on with dating that men can't handle what they dish out. That's what I saw from the comments, that you said we should be dating multiple people, and men are doing it all the time. And as soon as it was put in our court to say, hey, that sounds like a really good idea. When I sat and thought about it and said, not sleeping with, just dating, getting to know people, and not cutting all the other options off because this dude hasn't made a commitment to me. So he's really doing what he's doing, and I'm sitting here at home. He might be out on the date, and I'm home like, twiddling my thumbs or whatever. And then it comes down to it, and I'm like, hey, you didn't call me, or what happened? And he's like, I'm not your man. Like, I don't have to report to you. We only been together. We only been dating for 2 months. Like, people, ladies, let me say this to the women. 2 months, dating somebody for 2 months is not a long time. It's 8 weeks. That's not a long time. People be really in their mind, Lamar, women, and I'm speaking for the women because I can. We really be in our mind in a relationship with somebody after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks, after 6 weeks. Like, we really be full-fledged committed to somebody that has not asked us for a commitment. So what you said opened a lot of the women's eyes, because a lot of women came in the comments and was like, you know what? I could date 2 or 3 men.
Until both parties decide that they both want to be exclusive, why would you not date multiple people?
But you have to ask the man that was in the comments that was jumping on you.
Well, I would ask him, like, how honest are you with the women you're dating? It's like, are you pigeonholing yourself into that one woman when you go, hey, I like you, you like me, this is it, we exclusive. Now, if he's doing that, then okay, that's a different conversation. But if you're out here dating and I meet somebody tonight, I'm supposed to drop everybody I know tomorrow just because I think you're cute and I think we have some things in common? That's not enough for me right now.
Honey B67 said, how long do we wait for that decision?
What, to be exclusive?
Yeah.
That's a personal thing. That's for both of y'all. However y'all click, that's more to you guys' relationship to say, hey, I would tell you this from a man's standpoint. No woman should ask a man to do that. You should let him do it himself, because if he does it himself, guess what? He wants it, and he's going to be more faithful. So don't push that man.
So you should
never
say to a man, what are we?
Yeah. No, you don't. No, do you until he figures it out.
Oh, ladies, do you until he figures it out. So again, we getting it. I love male perspective because I take the stuff, I be writing down. So if I'm dating somebody for 3 months and I'm like, you know what, I'm over dating the other 3 men. Like, I'm like, okay, I like him. Is best for me to not ask him? Are we moving to be exclusive? So am I playing myself if I'm asking that because he's gonna say
yes? Now if you ask, now he's gonna be like, well, now you push him in the corner. Oh, now if he's ready, great. But if he's not ready, guess what? He's gonna run.
So if he's ready, he'll say it to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, listen, I don't want you dating anybody else. Maybe we moving in a different direction now.
Yeah.
And the fear too, and I shouldn't say fear, but the other problem that I see with when we ask a man, what are we? If he has the fear of losing you from the 3 women that he may be dating, or the 5 women, he'll tell you enough. And my boy Rodney Gray, another one of my big brothers, he said it best. He said, when I was out here playing games, I would give her just enough to make her hang on. I wouldn't give her the we're exclusive, but I would just give her just enough to dangle her along so that I could keep her seeing me. But I would not tell her that we're this.
That goes back to, I'm going to give you half truths. Like, challenge yourself to be honest and then see how that woman reacts. She's gonna, some women are going to leave.
Right.
I had women go, I ain't with it. I'm not going to be a part of your crew. You can frame it however you want, but it's just, I'm letting you know. It's like, listen, if I meet you, and if I know somebody for 3 months and I've known you for 1 month, I'm going to tell you, hey, I have other friends. But women also have to be able to look at a man's actions and go, how much time am I spending with this man? And read in between the lines of that. Because I've had women like, you want me to say it out loud, but if you're over here hanging out with me, and if I'm talking to you on the phone at night and this, do I really have time to entertain a whole bunch of other women? A man settles where he finds peace.
Oh.
So challenge yourself as a female. How do you become this man's peace?
Wow.
Because
shouldn't the man have his own peace? Like,
yeah. But you know what I'm saying is that, in particularly being a black man, if you're out here in a black man, you depending on your job, you're dealing with nonsense and whatever. You don't want to have to come home and argue with a woman. You want to come home and she's like, baby, I hope your day was good. This and that. Man, listen, men get so little that if you give us just a little bit, it goes a long way. I had a woman, if you take him out to dinner, if you rub his back, do something, just do things that other women, and probably in his past, have not done.
No, the man that's talking, his name is Lamar Hole. It's not Caleb. Why? That's what the man said to you? I'm sick of this peace thing. Well, let me say this. Straight Melanin, she said, I'm sick of this peace thing. Let me say this. A lot of times when I say to women, because I wrote a book called Side Chick Proof Your Home. The things that, and in the book, I basically talk about the things that side chicks are willing to do that the wife is no longer willing to do. You can't go into being a woman who doesn't sleep with her husband anymore. You can't go into where you're emasculating your man because you're in the house with him. You can't go into modes of not talking to your man. You can't be disrespectful to him because you got him. So when we say be his peace, it means like you really, and I see you said peace goes both ways. We can't play the tit for tat. If both of us are being the best, highest version of ourselves, if we're both operating decent in order, and if we're both doing what we're supposed to do as human beings, because a lot of us as women, the way that we treat and talk to our man, we would never do that to our good girlfriends. If we had a disagreement with them, we would control our tongue. Like, we would be like, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to sever the relationship. But
Right.
we'll go home and curse our husband out, or we'll go home and curse our boyfriend out. But we can control ourselves at work with our boss because we want to keep our job. So do we want to keep the peace at work more than we want to keep the peace in our home? So when he says a man stays where he finds peace, he's talking about as far as the home being a safe haven for a man. Because a lot of women,
Right.
we get out of character once we get the man. Am I correct in speaking
Correct.
that?
Absolutely correct. So, I mean, trying to be the best version of yourself, you're automatically going to find some form of peace. So that's just going to happen. So it's like, if you want women, it's more obviously there's more women in this world than men. So
Right.
women are naturally in competition for a man.
Don't tell
Just
them that.
any man. We're not even talking about a good, decent man. So if the man has done work on himself, if the man has risen himself to the top of his peer group, he has options. He just does. It's just the way that this has to be played. Women want to be in control of it, but you can't be in control of it because there's too many of y'all.
Okay, let me read
There's less.
this. Hold on, let me read this to you. Because
Okay.
I really want to address this stuff because I love to address it when it's a man and a woman talking so that they can hear both perspectives.
Okay.
I understand that, but men create situations that cause their peace to be interrupted. Let me answer that first, and then I'm going to let Lamar answer that. If you have to be nasty and mean to a man because he caused the situation for his peace to be interrupted, if you have to change the content of your character to make him feel some kind of pain or to disturb his peace, and you're saying, I'm doing it because, well, if he wouldn't have, then you don't need to be with that person because your reaction should not be to retaliate when you're in a relationship. And I'm just telling you, like, honestly, why relationships are not working, because women will say, when I say, listen, you got to sleep with your husband. Well, I'm not sleeping with him because he did something to me. You shouldn't be weaponizing sex with your husband. Like, if you have to start to do those things, it's either time for y'all to get counseling or it's time for y'all to part ways, because you're manipulating somebody to do something for you that you want them to do. So if he does something that you don't like, you stomping around the house and not cooking. That's a form of manipulation. And I don't think we realize it when we're in our emotions.
True. But so there's two different scenarios that you got. So you got a couple that's living together who has history, and then you have people that are dating. So those are two worlds apart in that. It's just when you're with somebody in the house, yes, you absolutely should be fixing things and working towards repair. When you're dating, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I doing the work on myself that I can identify, one, what I need, and two, what I don't need? And then when you see that first red flag, we talked about this last time, I was guilty of it myself. If you date somebody if you deem them extremely attractive, you make excuses with your eyes. That's why I told you, I start closing my eyes and start judging women on how I feel around them. What's their energy? What's the conversation like? Because if I open my eyes up, I'm going to make a bad decision.
Right.
I just am. So it's like, no, it starts with you. And in any relationship, start with you. He starts with himself. If you guys do the work, you'll come together so much better, because then you can be honest, you can be healed. But if you out here and you're dealing with a man and he's lying and jerking you around, leave. You should those red flags should come up and you should be like, oh, I'm not playing with you.
That's what I'm saying. But a lot of people are in relationships where they're playing tit for tat.
Right.
The reason why I act like this is because he did this, or the reason why I act like that is because she did that. At a certain age, again, like you said, when we have done the work, at a certain age where I value my peace more than I value a relationship, I'm not playing tit for tat with you. If you screaming, I'm not screaming back at you. You gonna sit there and argue by yourself. If you doing stuff and I don't like what you're doing, and I have a conversation with you and say, hey, that's a boundary. Don't do that again. You continue to do it. If you continue to do it and I continue to stay, and I stay in that environment where I'm unhappy and I got to treat you a certain way, I got to sleep all the way on the other side of the bed, or I'm not cooking for you, or I'm giving you attitude, or I'm cursing you out, or I'm cutting you off from sex, I'm not only punishing you, but I'm punishing myself.
Right.
And I refuse to withhold from sex when I like sex. Like, I'm not gonna be like, no, we gonna do it. We gonna talk about it tomorrow. We gonna do it. We not cutting that off, and then we can sleep on the other side of the bed. But a lot of times, even like, for instance, with co-parenting, right? This is how we punish ourselves as women. The man don't show up for his weekend, so we're mad, or he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. And then when he calls to say, I want to come get my kid, there's so many women that are sitting home with that kid, don't have nothing to do. That the kid don't got nothing to do, they ain't got nothing to do, they just sitting in the house. And that woman would be like, no, you can't come get him. It's not your weekend. You punishing yourself. Because I'm like, come get him.
Yeah.
And this is what we do in relationships. We feel like we want to punish the other person, but in turn, you're really only hurting yourself. And I refuse to hurt myself. And if it gets to a point where I can't communicate and I got to do something to make you feel bad, to manipulate you, to treat me better, it's just time for me to go. At 54, I haven't always been there because I wanted what I wanted. So I would compromise my peace of mind and happiness because there was something, a benefit that was greater for me then. And I would compromise to stay for that benefit. You know, we talked about that before.
Well, I mean, and that's the growth. That's the growth. You can't, at 54, you shouldn't be thinking how you were at 34 or 40. I'm listening. You got to be a grown woman to deal with me.
Right. Yeah. And you got to protect your peace. Like, it takes a long time, right, to get to a place of peace, right? And I talked about this, I think, on one of my morning shows, where when we were coming out of our parents' houses and we were coming into our own, we were going up the mountain to learn. Like, we went up the mountain, we went into some relationships we shouldn't have been in. Right. We did some things we shouldn't have did. You know, we got caught up, and it took a lot of energy, a lot of stress, a lot of learning to get to the top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. At this age, and I use this, I'm going down the mountain now. You know, it's much easier to go down the hill than to go uphill. At this age, I've learned I'm not arguing with you. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'm not lying. I'm not cheating, because, you know, we've all done that. Yep. Well, most of us. Some people won't admit it, but I went through infidelity from me cheating on my husband. I'm coming down the hill now. Like, it's easy street. You know what I mean? I'm walking down. I don't have to make it difficult because somebody is going uphill and they try to drag me that way. No, boo. I'm on the other side of the mountain right now. And this is one of the reasons why I said I don't want to date younger. Right. Because I understand that they have a lot of growth to do. And I wouldn't even be mad at a brother at 37 years old that cheated. Right. Now, I have a different expectation for a man that's 50, because you know damn well you ain't got no business running no kind of game. Now, 37-year-old man, he still might be out there because he got a lot more growing to do. And some of the young men was like, you trying to say I'm this? I said, no, I'm just saying that I was with a man when he was 36, a couple of them. Mm-hmm. So I know that they grew, and they're better men now at 50, 54. They're the ones I'm not with, you know, they're taking care of family. They started business, you know. At 37, you might be starting all over again next year or for the next 5 years. Right. At 50 and up, we are going into retirement, even though things may happen in our lives, but we're on another plateau than what you're on. And I expect you to be doing some things with a 37-year-old woman. You still might want to have kids. True. I'm not giving you nothing.
True. And that you gotta, that it goes back to, again, and knowing what you want out of a relationship. You know, if you are a guy that wants to be with if you want to chase women, that's fine. Be honest. Stop jerking women around. I don't understand the whole thing. It's like, yeah, you're lying to this one, lying to this one. Lying, you can do it.
Right.
But my memory's not that good these days. So, you know, I'm not, that is just not something that I'm going. I'm serious. I don't remember things the way that I used to. My mind's not that quick all the time. So I'm not going to. I'm telling truth by
Lamar,
default.
you're so
Like,
crazy. I
yeah, I'm
know.
like, and then when I've done it, and I've gotten bad reactions, and I've gotten good reactions too. So you kind of go like, okay, it's like Dion Cole. If you haven't watched his stand up on Netflix, he said a thing. He said, "You never know what another person's into until you're being truthful."
Right.
That's
Right.
it. You just never know. You could be like, you could be like, hey, listen, I like multiple women, and you might, and most 90% of the chicks might be, ain't for me, but you might be that one chick be like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, there are women who
There
there
are
are
women that are
women
okay with that.
with a whole bunch of different stuff.
And you don't have to lie. That's the whole thing. Is that once you walk into the sunlight, me and my dad say that once you walk into the sunlight and you can start living in your truth and project that out, you don't get told no that much.
So somebody said on here, and I want to address this right now too, and I want your take on it too. She said there are plenty of fools out here in their 50s and up. So let me address that first.
Okay.
I'm not tolerating a fool in his 50s. He doesn't get the chance to be a fool in his 50s playing 37-year-old games or 32-year-old games or 25-year-old games. So it's a different mentality when I set a boundary with him and immediately let him go. So if he's a fool, he's a fool. I really don't care. But I know that I could say to him, like I said, you 54 years old. That's what you're doing, son?
Right.
Get out of here. Now,
Get
for
out
a
of there. I mean,
37-year-old, I really would have to be like, let me just tell you something, little young man. You know what I mean?
You out here sunning people. Come on, don't do that.
But listen, and Lamar, when you messing around with younger people and they bring different dynamics in the game where you could get caught up. Right. And we talked about being caught up and staying in relationships for far too long for the wrong reasons, right? So you don't want to get into a relationship with a younger man and tolerate stuff from him and make excuses for him because the ding is good. Because, you don't want to get caught up in that and then say to yourself, well, he is 37. So let me give him another chance because tonight's going to be a good night. But for a 50-year-old, 54-year-old man, you're going to be like, nobody has time to be playing. You know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
Anybody 45 and up in my life right now, I'm no longer making excuses for you or excusing your poor behavior. Right. Now, people younger than that, I don't date them and I mentor them. I school them. So they on a different, they're like, I'm an advisor or a mentee, a mentor to them, as opposed to grown 45 and up. You can miss me with all of that. For real, for girlfriends, friends.
If you're 45 and older and you want to chase women, you want to be in the streets, by all means do that. It is up to a woman or a man to identify and go, that's not for me. And I'm going to keep it moving.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. There are some 50-year-old fools, but you have to be a 50-year-old woman with wisdom and not waste your time. Like a lot of women say, oh, why do I keep attracting the wrong man? Or why I keep attracting the same kind of men? And no, you don't attract them. You entertain them for too long. It's not about who you attract because you're attracting all different individuals.
Correct.
It's about when you see a person who has the same behaviors as the last dude that you didn't like, and you entertain him for 2 years. That's not his fault. That's your fault. You're not attracting the same people. You're just entertaining the behaviors for way too long when you know it's a boundary and something that you don't want to deal with. I don't deal with things that don't bring me joy, happiness, and peace. You can go. I'm okay. And it comes from being okay by myself.
Right. Do your do's and know your do's and your don'ts. Do the work on yourself. Don't be afraid to be by yourself. And guess what? You'll find that person because you won't tolerate the nonsense. And this applies for men and women. This ain't just a thing, because men get to a point, we do mature right around 40 to 42. We're going to be a better version of ourselves that most people are not going to understand at 42. Lamar at 32, Lamar at 22, nobody wanted to really deal with him. So at 51, I know what I've done. And I've made those corrections. Even my ex-wife that I was with for 25 years, now I'll be like, this guy's not the same person I was with because I've grown. So my whole
Right.
value, the way I look at things, the way I approach things is totally different than when I was married. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So it's just, I don't know. If a woman is complaining about men, that means you haven't done any work on yourself because you're tolerating the nonsense. You don't know what you want. You just out here a leaf in the wind, just blowing around. I mean, it's like, look in the mirror and go, what do you want? What does your happiness look like? What does your peace look like? And work on that. And then when you meet a man, you go, oh, he ain't doing right, and let him go.
Wow. Yeah. And again, like I said, a lot of times we have to understand and just be accountable for what we're dealing with and stop blaming everybody else. And there's a lot of blame game in the dating lane. Everybody wants to blame everybody else. Everybody wants to act like the other person is the pea in the dating pool. But you keep swimming in the pea instead of moving on. And I always say this, when people stay in toxic relationships or when people stay around, even friends or family, that is not good for them. It's because you're benefiting. Right. You're benefiting something from them. Like, the last relationship you were in, not this one recently, but the one before that, or the last relationship, if I think about that, if I stayed longer than I should have, I can honestly sit here and think and say to myself, I stayed longer than I should have because I was benefiting in this area. And that's what kept me there. But the last relationship I was in, I was actually able to release and leave when it was done because I'm not saying I wasn't benefiting from him in any way, but I didn't have any voids that he was filling. Like, I didn't need money from him. I wasn't looking for a father for my children. Right. I wasn't looking for a daddy figure. I didn't need him to financially support me. So when it ended, I was able to walk away in peace. I mean, it hurt because I liked him, but I was able to walk away without falling apart or blaming him or talking bad about him or bashing it and acting like he wasted 3 years of my life. I was able to walk away and say it was what it was because I was whole when I walked in and I was whole when I walked out.
But you've also learned from it too. And is that if you take each opportunity as a learning lesson to be better, is that you will not repeat that anymore.
Right.
So that's the lesson learned right now. You learn that lesson, you're not going to repeat it. So you meet a man, you be like, hey, I'm not going to give nobody 3 years on nothing.
Right. Exactly.
So, and
women always say he wasted 3 years of my life. Nobody can waste what you don't give them. You had to stay there and give that person that time. So we have to stop saying what people are wasting or what people are doing to us because people can't take or do anything to us that we don't allow. You have to give people permission in your space, in your life, and to take from you. Right. Somebody asks you to borrow money and you mad because you loaned them the money? Like, why are you mad? You should have just said no. And then they ask you again and you loan it again. Right. And then you mad and you blaming them. No, you're the sucker. Right. It's not them. You got to look in the mirror sometimes, especially in relationships, and say, there's something that I'm getting from this that is making me compromise myself, my happiness, my morals, my values, my integrity. Let me figure out what that thing is. And once I fix that in myself, I'll be able to let this person go or walk away.
Yep. Or be able to sit down and communicate with them and go like, listen, this is where I'm at.
Right.
And we're working towards the same goal or we're not. And if we're not, that's fine too, because now I can make a better decision for me. So,
right.
It's not that hard. It really got one men are not that hard. I mean, we're very, 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 very simple. But it requires a woman to not put yourself first. It requires you to put him first and think about, what is this man like? What is he into? How can I become his piece? If you approach it that way, the tenfold that you get back from a man, that's what I'm saying. Women in particular, Black women, have been taught, oh, I ain't catering nobody. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that. But you want this man. If you want this man, why are you making it so difficult? Right. It's like I don't understand people that play this game. I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. He don't do this. I'm like, come on, man. It's like, talk it through, be honest, do what you say you're gonna do. And if he doesn't or she doesn't give you that energy back, hey, cut the cord.
Right, walk away. And again, if we walk into relationships with the of serving the other person, everything will work out so much more in everybody's favor if both people are walking to that relationship with a giving heart rather than what's in it for me. It will work out so much better. And I know women are saying, when you said you got to figure out what that man's like, what that man like, what's his piece, and be it. You really do. Like, you really have to walk into that relationship coming in to understand what this person likes, what this person doesn't like, not to compromise or change your core, but to be able to understand that each person in a relationship needs something different. Like, you have to figure out what his love language is. And a lot of times when we hear somebody say, you need to do, figure out and do what's best for that person in order for the relationship to work. And we want to be like, no, this person, no, you really do. Like, both parties have to come in, and I have to come in the door saying, let me find out what it is that Lamar likes. Like, seriously. And Lamar has to walk in the door like, let me find out what Trey likes. Trey's love language is writing handwritten poems, and she likes to be outside. She's not a material girl, because no matter how much you give me, that don't move me. And that was one of the problems in my first marriage, in my only marriage. My ex-husband, who was a great, great guy, a really good guy, but a workaholic, never spent time with me. So adultery creeped into the relationship. He bought me everything. Like, I was balling. Like, we started a business. We were doing really well. I had a pool at my house. But those weren't the things that made me happy. Like, I could go buy, anything. I had an Escalade before, when nobody was balling. But I wasn't getting what I needed, and he did not figure out what that was. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he didn't figure out, what does Trey need? What does Trey like? All of these gifts and everything. Why aren't you happy? A woman would be happy with that, like, but not all women. So we have to figure out what it is that feeds our partner and makes them thrive in the relationship. We have to.
You have to. When people are not used to material things, you make decisions for those things. Once you get accustomed to living a certain way, if your house is a mansion and you live there for 5 or 10 years, you don't look at that house like everybody else looks at it.
Right.
So you start to look at other things and go, I was married. We had a great life together, but I knew I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy.
Right.
And she's a good person, and everybody was like, what's going on? Why you want a divorce? Why this and that? I was like, you know what? I love her. She's the mother of my child, but I'm not happy. And it came back to it. We didn't align on interests. We didn't communicate. We weren't physical enough, and it was just. And I pushed myself to become successful because I wasn't successful when we first got together. She graduated from college from me. She supported me. She did all the hard work. And then once I became successful, once I graduated from college, it still didn't change. And her and I had a conversation about a year or two ago, and I told her, and she didn't want to admit it. She started crying, and I said, it's okay. I've done the work. I said, between 20 and 32, I didn't deserve your respect and admiration. I said, but when I went back to college and I became successful and I made more money than you, why didn't it?
Wow.
And she said, she looked at herself. She said, I don't know. She said, I tried. But she was making decisions when I was a young 20-year-old and I had no direction.
Wow.
And I respect her for that. Wow. And that's just, and our relationship got better from that. And there's nothing that anybody can say to me that's going to make me upset that I have. So that's the part of the work that I've done on myself, is that I can tell you, you can say whatever. Like I told you, I cheated.
Right.
I cheated, but I had 2 relationships after my marriage that I didn't cheat, that I was honest. I told a woman what I needed. She gave it to me, and I didn't cheat. So unfortunately, my ex-wife didn't do those things. So I got rid of the cheater stigma, the stereotype. I cheated on you. I didn't cheat on them because they listened.
Right. That's so good. But you said something so key. You said, I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy. There's so many people who are in half relationships. I want to be happy with my partner. I want to be happy together. Not, I'm happy by myself. but this part of my relationship, I'm unhappy, or
Right.
I'm not fulfilled, or there's no connection. Nobody wants to live like that for the rest of their life. And a lot of people are just going through the motions. And I know people, you know, I
Oh,
coach people, and I'm
I
like,
I know a lot
you
of people.
deserve to be happy. Like, you deserve to wake up every day and be happy, ecstatic, happy. Like, of course, in relationship, life's gonna go on. People are gonna die, and we're gonna lose people, and we're gonna lose money. We're gonna make money, but the core of that relationship, you deserve to be in a thriving, happy marriage or a happy relationship. And a lot of people don't think it's possible.
So it goes back to our topic. You date multiple people, you become friends with people, and the friendship will grow into a relationship
Yes.
if it's worth it. I am not against marriage, but I am not getting married again unless I marry my best friend.
Oh,
That's the only way it's going to happen. So
yes.
you're going to have to make up your mind. Are you going to figure out what Lamar likes? That's up to you. That's not for me to make you do anything. You don't have to do a thing. But it's like, if marriage is what you want from me, you got to become my partner. You got to be my best friend. I got to look at you and look at my homeboys. Go, I'd rather hang out with my girl than hang out with y'all.
Right. Right. And that is exactly what it is supposed to be. That is exactly what it's supposed to be, because we build friendships with our homeboys, and we build friendships with our good girlfriends, and we have all these things in common. We have this level of respect for them and this level of reverence. And then we get into relationships where it is not your best friend, where it is not built on a friendship, and you will disrespect somebody who is not your friend. I won't disrespect somebody who is out. And I tell women all the time, would you say that to your homegirl? And they be like, nah. You can control your mouth with your homegirl, but you can't control your mouth with your man, because y'all didn't build a solid foundation of friendship, because you don't want to hurt your friend's feelings.
Right.
So you watch your mouth. So it is so important, again, like you said, and for everybody that had a problem with saying dating 3 or more people at the same time while you're in the dating phase, you're not going to know who you like, what you like, until you get to know people. And it takes time. So you do have to date different people. And my friends, I told you about the side faxes, they met on a dating site. And at a certain point, I think it was 2 months in, maybe 2 or 3 months in, they said, let's try this exclusively with just us. You know, you shut down your profile, I shut down my profile. We have a lot in common. And they were talking during the pandemic. So they were on FaceTime all the time talking. And they got married a year later. And they're Generation X. But they knew at a moment, because they were both still talking to people, multiple people, until they said, let's shut the dating site down and let's just try us. And it worked out for them. But not until they said it.
I bet you he led that conversation.
I'm sure he did.
It worked. It only works when the man decides it. Women don't want to hear that. But if you want that man, if you don't want him to cheat, if you want to, let him take the wheel. Stop wanting to drive. Go.
I don't want to drive.
Yeah, some women want to drive. You're like, no, you shouldn't want to drive. Let that man make the decisions. And if he's not on your timeline, hey, you gotta be able to walk away.
Come on now.
Come on. I got a 25-year-old daughter, and I told her, I said, listen, she's starting to come and talk to me, because I'm like, I'm give you a man's perspective. This ain't your dad talking. I'm gonna tell you what men are gonna do. You know, this is how it's gonna be. And she's starting to listen, and she's like, okay, because her mom's not really talking to her about marriage, because we got divorced, and now she's sour on marriage and stuff like that. So now it's on my burden to tell my daughter, no, marriage is still good, baby, but it's going to require you to do work on yourself before you decide to have a man in your life.
Right.
You know, and she's just like, okay, you know, it's like, so you take the same approach. Work on you, be honest, and date until you find the one that you can't be without.
That's it. Exactly.
It's that simple. It is that simple.
It is. And I just want the women to hear this tonight. Like, I really want us to really get clarity on the fact that it is okay for us to date more than one person at a time until the man is saying that he's exclusive with us. We have to stop assuming that we are in a relationship with a man who has not committed to us, who has not said to us, listen, let's be exclusive now. Let's just take all the cards off the table, because 9 times out of 10, if this conversation has not been had, and now we learned tonight from Lamar that if it has not been led by him, he's not ready. Just like women who tell men, when are we getting engaged? When are we getting engaged? If he wanted to get engaged, he would buy you a ring.
Buy your
if
ring.
He was ready for marriage, he would ask you to marry him. You pressuring him into it is 9 times out of 10 surely going to end either in a breakup or a divorce from a marriage, because he did not want to do it and he gave you. I tell women all the time, I said this about 2 years ago, maybe 3, on a live. I said, a lot of women running around here with shut up rings. Shut up. Here, take the ring, shut, and he's never going to marry you. He just wants you to shut up. So maybe if you had not pressured him because your girlfriends got engaged and your mother's asking you, a lot of women right now to this day are walking around with shut up rings. Just let me go buy this ring for her birthday, because every birthday, every Christmas, you're expecting him to propose to you.
Right.
He doesn't have to do it on your time. If he's not ready, he's just not ready. But when he is, and all of the men I interviewed, and you know, I interviewed a lot of men on my podcast, Men Heard Too, who said, when a man is ready, you'll know. You won't have to ask.
You don't have to ask him. I'm very big on respect. And it's not a woman to a man. I'm big on respect because I give it so freely. I demand it back. You know, I'm not going to talk to anybody crazy. I'm not going to challenge you. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So when you do that to me, hey, I'm shutting down. I can't talk to you. You know, you're too emotional. If you show me that you are more emotional than logical, I'm not dealing. I'm just not.
Good Lord, ladies, don't be more emotional than logical. Melly Mel said, how long do you wait? Melly Mel, let me answer that question for you. I'm 54 years old, and I have enough men in my life. Lamar, I have a couple other brothers from another mother. I have enough brothers in my life who have told me it does not take a man 3 to 5 years to figure out if he wants to spend the rest of his life with you. So there's a window that you have to provide for yourself. I'm 54. So you got 24 months with me to decide if we are moving on, because I want to take some time to get to know you too, because a lot of stuff doesn't show up. But enough stuff shows up in a year for us to know that we can be together forever, or if this man is really going in that direction. There's some real conversations that have to be had. But you have to know, because I don't know how old you are. But at 35, I had 10 years to give to a man. At 35, I had 5 years to give to a man. At 27, I had 20 years to waste on a man, or, you know, give it an opportunity. But at 54, I don't have that kind of time. We all are mature enough to know exactly what we want, what our deal breakers are, what our boundaries are. So I got married at 19. Oh, so yeah, so you have to understand that. What is the time frame for you? How much time do you want to get to know a person? How well do you know yourself? I know myself well enough to know that there are some strategic conversations that I'm going to have with whoever I'm dating to know where their mind is, and if we're in alignment with each other,
right.
Our core values, our time frame. And I'm not mad at nobody. If that's not what they want, that's cool.
Right.
But we're not going to waste 3 years again to figure out if that's what we want.
I mean, real talk. A man knows, I would say somewhere between 1.5 years and 2 years.
Right.
You know.
I believe that.
You know. So if you're expecting a ring, I would challenge any woman to say, if you want to get married and you're dating somebody, y'all been dating for 1.5 years, 2 years, and you are looking for a ring, you got to start asking yourself, are you his piece?
Oh.
Are you his friend? Because if he enjoys hanging out with you, if he enjoys, y'all have very intimate, honest communication, that man is, he's not gonna let you go. So it just really comes down to, like, are you doing the work on yourself to identify what this man's needs? And you can do it, create a piece, create an environment that he feels very vulnerable and comfortable to talk to you about any and everything. If you do that, a ring ain't too far behind. I don't care. You can do it at 6 months. If you come out the gate and you did work on yourself, that guy be like, holy cow. I tell my daughter all the time, I said, the bar is so low because most women don't want to do it. If he's a sports fan, take interest in sports. Whatever he has interest in, take it, because he has never really met a woman that is going to approach him like that. It's like, if I met a woman today, and I'm an avid Star Wars fan, and she was just like, you know what? I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I would love to sit down with you and you teach me everything about it because I know that you like it. I'll be like, what? Who is this woman? Now I start looking at my roster and going, oh, you in trouble. You in trouble. Somebody's here is taking an interest in me. And it's not that hard. You know, and I look at women, I go, y'all have so much power and y'all have no idea how to use it.
Right. Right.
Y'all have only been taught that it's between your legs.
Wow.
That's not the power you want.
Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back on Wednesday. So this was rich, and we have these good conversations, and I just believe that there's a lot of podcasts that are pro men, and there's a lot of podcasts that are pro women, and I believe that we need to simultaneously heal, and I believe we need to have simultaneous healthy conversations with two healthy people. Like, we're not perfect, right, but we're not here to bash each other. So who's talking? Lamar. Yeah, that's Lamar. So we're not here to turn women against men and men against women. We're here to create harmony in Generation X and to really see what the miss is when it comes to dating, and and I'm seeing some of the comments from the women who are saying, well, men need to be women's peace and this and that. I just want us to learn how to take notes and to not have the back and forth, tit for tat. Well, men need to do this. I need you to stay on point on the conversation of what we're talking about and just learn from what he's saying or learn from what I'm saying without having a rebuttal, because that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the rebuttals that you're having in here, instead of listening and learning from Lamar, I don't want to argue back and forth with him. I want to take the meat and leave the bones behind and grow and learn from him. And I hope that he does the same thing with me. So for the women on here who are going back and forth, this is the way you treat a man, because the way that you're going bickering back and forth with him in his live is the reason why you can't have a healthy conversation with a man, because it's a thing that the therapist called dish piling. When your spouse says something to you, you pile a dish on it. So by the time you get where you're going, there's a crusty dish at the bottom of the sink that hasn't been dealt with. Right. And it's crusty and it's stinking and it's corroded. And you just continuously piling because you're saying, what about you? Well, you did this. Instead of y'all just listening and taking notes. And when I do my podcast, Men Hurt Too, one of the things men said about their podcast, they said, this is the most vulnerable I've ever been. I told you things that I never told anybody. And it's simply because I was just listening. I was listening and I was asking questions, and they were answering the question, and I wasn't saying, well, no, you can't say that. Right. Well, that's not the way women think, because it wasn't about the way women think. It was about me learning Men Hurt Too and what was going on with men. And I went to the subject matter expert, which was Black men, to ask them some strategic questions. And I just led the conversation and I just let them answer. And they were like, I never told nobody that before. And they was like, girl, you like one of the homeboys. I was like, it's okay. And I say that to say this, Lamar, because I see women in the comments going back and forth, right, negating what you're saying or battling you. And we got to stop doing that. And we just got to listen sometimes. Just listen and take notes and listen to what the other men say when Lamar talks. If they say amen, hallelujah, praise God, or if they say, nah, he way off. And if it's 50 of them saying he's way off, you're collecting data. And if it's 50 of them saying, yo, that brother is the truth. Like Kevin Samuels, I've never watched Kevin Samuels, but I know there was millions of men who were agreeing with him. So we got to listen to, that's data that the millions of the men were saying, yo, he is the truth. He's telling the truth. And women were like, I hate him. And I never listened to him. I didn't like his delivery. But when I know men are agreeing, I know that.
Okay. So you got to look at his podcast and, rest in peace. So this is the whole thing. This is an entertainment business. So Kevin Samuels started out doing that with men. Right. Guess what? Nobody wanted to watch. So he flipped it and it became, he's a personality. So he's not going to frame the message that's going to be so receptive to your sensitive ears.
Right. Right.
It's a
Right.
shock value. It's a show. You don't watch Real Wives and Basketball Wives because it's so nice. You watch it because you know they're going to be ridiculous and talk to each other crazy.
Right.
So you have to think that same thing about these podcasts and these TV shows and things of that nature. But the message is there. I would tell friends all the time. I tell women, listen to the message. The delivery, yes, could be a little bit, not tasteful, but the message is there. And like you said, you got men behind the scenes going, yeah, that's how I feel. And women going like, women go, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like, how can you tell me how I feel? I'm telling you. It's like, come on, man. It's like, just listen to what I'm saying.
Yes.
And stop overthink and decipher it. It's like, if you create this relationship of truth and communication, a man, once he starts opening up to you, and then you tell him what he's saying isn't right, he's gonna shut you down. He ain't gonna talk to you no more. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that to him. It takes us too much to open up. And when we open up and then you try to overthink it or ridicule us or something, like, man, I'm not telling her shit no more. So it is what it is.
Tanya, does this guy have a channel? We do a show on Wednesday nights called Looking for Love on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. His name is Lamar Hall. It's a few people that's asking where you at. So the podcast is Looking for Love, and his name is Lamar Hall. He's on Instagram. He doesn't do a lot of social media, but I'm gonna push him over the edge because I do. And he know I'm gonna push him over the edge. So we just have healthy Generation X conversations and true talk. And the thing about it is, like, I told Lamar, I was sending him messages like, you done ruffle some feathers. And I told him this is his first podcast. I said, you got to have thick skin. He said, oh, I'm ready for it. And he ready for it. Because it took me a long time to, I've been doing this for a long time now, but it took me a long time to get thick skin because people used to like, they was harsh. I've been doing this, I think, 13 years now since I started. And they were like, I was like, I would get on and I would try to defend. And I learned, like, I don't have to go back and forth. I said what I said.
Right.
So, and my delivery too can be a little harsh at times, but that is just who I am.
Okay, so the people that do get offended, they have to look at themselves and go, why are you getting offended? What about my statement is offending you, that there's something that I've said that you don't want to deal with or you don't want to be honest with or whatever the case may be? That's why you get offended, because you and I talking, right? You and I are talking, we're being very honest and we're being very transparent, and we're not get offended by anything. There's nothing you can say to offend me. So it's like, it's just healthy conversations if you're in the spirit of wanting to be the best version of yourself. Now, if you want to continue to, feed your brain nonsense, then go right ahead. But if you want to grow and you want to be happy, you want peace, you want to be married, hey, listen, it's not that hard. It really is not. And I'm not a man that I don't sugarcoat things. I'm not going to lie to women. I'm not going to do these things. So yes, it's going to come off a little harsh sometimes, but it's just my truth. It's not your truth. It's just my truth. You don't have to take it. It is what it is, but it has worked for me. And because it has worked for me, I will continue to do it and push myself to be better.
Yes.
Because you just find peace. And once you find that peace, you don't let anything. And that's something I tell women when I meet them. It's like, listen, don't disturb my peace. Like, please don't. I said, listen. And I will tell you when we are walking into that danger zone. Be like, listen, you're disturbing my peace. That should be immediate. Pump the brakes. I'm gonna go figure out and take some time for myself, and let's regroup and let's talk this through. Because if we keep going down this path, I have no choice but to walk away from you, because I love Lamar more than anything. And I said, I start with my daughter, who I love more than anything in this world. If she disturbs my peace, I would tell her the same thing. Baby, you need to go figure some stuff out and come back to daddy when stuff's good. And if I do it with her, who I love more than anything, then everybody else got to get in line, because I don't play with my peace.
I know that's right. We're getting some good responses, so we're going to let y'all go because we didn't even plan this. But I just think we needed to have a conversation like this. Maybe we'll do an afterthought each week if we have time, if we pop on to see each other. because folks was really just in their feelings, and the only way for us to be able to grow as Generation X is to have healthy dialogue, to agree to disagree respectfully. Because one guy, I had to like let him know, like, what you're not gonna do is disrespect my co-host and disrespect my boy, because the hood, because I tell people I'm 90% Christian and 10% Cardi B. And when you mess with my people, Cardi B show up, and I'll be like, oh no, I gotta sit Cardi back down, because Cardi will pop out of me, like the nails and all. Like, wait a minute, what you say?
But I like this to where you taking people's calls and they're making comments and we discussing it like that. 'Cause I mean, it's more interactive, and I think people want to learn. I think they like, this. You get to a point, you go, this has not worked for me. I've got to do something.
New Jersey, Toya. I'm from Jersey.
Like,
Don't mess with my people.
Hey, it's like, man, listen, you gotta do something different. If it ain't working, do something different. That's all I'm saying, is that if you are Generation X, we've had multiple relationships, per se.
Yeah.
If you're still single and you're in the Generation X part and you're newly into it, figure out something different, to do something different, because what you did before didn't work.
Right.
It didn't. So it's like, you got to stop being tender about that and go, that relationship didn't work. Why? Analyze it, sit by yourself and go, what did you, it takes two people to ruin a relationship.
Yes.
What part did you play in it?
Yep.
And be honest with it.
I say that all the time. Cheating and breakups are, cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem.
Correct. Like, it's less honesty. Listen, yes. If the man is cheating, it's because there's a lack of physical contact, there's no communication, and he doesn't feel wanted or desired. If you think that we don't need those things, we do. If you think, oh, I could just give him sex whenever. No, he needs respect. He needs admiration. He needs to feel that you are taking in his energy. And if he can't get that from you, he's going to go find it somewhere else.
Cheating, and somebody said not always, cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem. I'm going to say 90% of the time. Now, there are some men who just need to mature and grow up, and they're in their dog phase. I don't call men dogs, but there are some men who are still in their dog phase, who still suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out. But 90% of the time, cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem. I have coached men whose wives have not slept with them in 9 months, 2 years. I was coaching a man who was actually on his way out the door. He had found an apartment and everything. His wife had not slept with him in 2 years. And he was like, I've tried everything, and the ball is in her court, and she's saying, I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that. You just cannot check out on your man. Cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem. You cannot be around here not carrying yourself the way that you used to. I'm sorry to tell you ladies this. You cannot go into a relationship and be a certain size, right? A man is attracted to you when he sees you, and he marry you and you a size 8 and now you a size 22. And you talking about, I had these kids. Well, you got to go and you got to go to the gym. Or you can't marry a man who married you when you were a size 22 and your friends then talked you into getting your stomach stapled and now you're a size 8. Some men like big women.
Right.
Some men don't like, this one man told me I was too skinny for him. Because he said, I like women with some meat on their bones. So if he had a wife and he married her and she was a size 22 and she got down to a size 8, they're going to have some issues. There's one man that I coached. He said his wife wanted to cut her hair. Well, she did cut her hair. And he told her, I'm not attracted to short hair, because she wanted the baldy like the Caesar. And he said their relationship suffered drastically because he told her, I'm not attracted to you. I feel like I'm having sex with a man. But he said, I asked her not to cut her hair. So if you want your spouse to be attracted to you, you have to do or keep what's attractive for them. Nobody's trying to tell you what to do. And that's one thing about women. You can't tell me how to do my hair. And you can't. Well, if your husband is not attracted to a baldy, you're going to have some problems at the end of the day.
Right.
And he's going to be looking at other women with long hair. And you're going to be talking about all of these things that he's doing wrong. And I told them too. I said, y'all keep screaming about this unconditional love. There's a difference between unconditional love and unconditional attraction. A man has eyeballs. He can't gouge his eyeballs out. He sees what he sees. And a woman. If you had a man that had a six-pack and big shoulders and was in the military and worked out, and then y'all were married for 10 years and he's sitting on the couch with a beer belly and he ain't grooming his fingernails, you're gonna have it's nothing about you don't love him anymore, that it's not unconditional love. You don't have, it's no such thing as unconditional attraction. He's sitting on the couch, I see a beer belly. He's sitting on the couch, he hasn't groomed his beard. He's sitting on the couch, his nails is dirty. I'm not attracted to that. You understand what I'm saying? And women love to talk about, well, if you're supposed to have unconditional love and women's bodies changes, I get it, but it shouldn't change so drastic from where y'all came from in the beginning. I'm not saying I'm a size, in high school I was a 4. I'm an 8, but I keep myself together.
I mean, we're all going to put on a little weight. I weighed 175 pounds in high school. I weigh 200 now. So we're going to put, naturally, you're going to put some weight on, but it's like, how do you proportion it? You can't go from being, 175 pounds to 300.
Right.
Like, I mean, come on, like, that's come on. We got to be better than that. So it's just like, it's crazy. So, and the whole thing is that the moment that you get a divorce or the moment y'all break up, guess what? You're back in the gym.
Right.
You should have been in the gym before. You should have been in the gym before. I'm getting my new. I mean, come on, man. Like, you should have did that with your man. I'll say this to most women: if you have a man and he has a high sex drive, I challenge you: empty the gun, surprise him, do some things out of character, and he'll be like, "Whoa!" He'll start talking to his homeboys like, "Man, she woke me up in the middle of the night. Man, like, man, I wasn't expecting this." She got to get into a man's head. Stop playing the games. Like, if you want him to be into you, be into him first.
Okay, this person says, what happens if something out of your control changes your appearance? Does the relationship end? Let me tell you this. We're not talking about the wedding vow says through sickness and health. We're not talking about somebody who's terminally ill. We're not talking about somebody who has alopecia. We're talking about when your husband makes a request to you not to cut your hair and you go bald your head. We're talking about women who have put on weight and they're talking about, I had a kid and the kid is 7. We're talking about things that are in our control. We're never talking about a woman leaving a man because he lost his job because they downsized the company. No, babe, I got your back. We're talking about a man who's sitting on the couch who's a bum who ain't doing nothing, as opposed to a man who's been working for 12 years and the company downsized, or he got into an accident on his job and he can't. We're not talking about things that are beyond our control. A lot of relationships are suffering from men and women who can do things that are in their control for their spouse that they choose not to do until that person decides to walk out of the door or they have a side piece. And I'm not condoning side chicks or any of that stuff because I don't believe in it. But this is why things like this happen, because affairs start way before the bedroom. Cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem, and we don't want to talk about these things. And like Lamar said from our last episode, when we were talking about the woman who she said, what you doing? He said, oh, I'm going on a date, and she started sending nudes. Like, this is what happens in relationships when a woman is not servicing her man at home or taking care of the marriage, and vice versa when a man is not doing what he's supposed to do, and homegirl start hanging out with the dude on her job. Then he want to step the game up. Like, what are you doing? You wasn't paying attention to me until old boy started telling me I smelled good. Now you want the marriage to work, and I'm over it. I'm through. I'm ready to go. So we have to be mindful before these things happen. And we're not talking about things that are beyond our control. We're not talking about people who have cancer. We're not talking about people who have alopecia. And we're not talking about a man who has to bald his head because his hair fell out. We know that some men go bald. So we're not talking, we're talking about a man whose wife loves his hair, and he goes to cut his beard off, and you look like a crazy psycho, and it's like, babe, if you don't grow your beard back, we're gonna your mustache, because I've seen some men.
Hey, listen, I'm never shaving my beard off. Listen,
I don't even want to see it.
I can't change the whole profile of your face.
I don't want to see the baby face.
Somebody I was a beard fish. I was like, I mean, you can call it what you want. I'm not shaving my beard, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just. I've seen some men with a beard and a mustache, and then I've seen them without. And I clearly said to myself, and I hate to be superficial, but I said, if that was my man and he came home like that, he would be out of that house for a week until that hair grew. Because get out of here. You ever see a dog get shaved? Like, you're like, who did
dog. Like the dog got gum in his head.
It just comes to, you got to know what you want from your mate, and you got to communicate it. You know, it's just like, but it can't be a one-way street. Both you got to do it. So it's like, if y'all gonna get fat together, then cool. That's great. You know, but one of y'all can't be in the gym and one of y'all be, you know, sitting on the couch. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And you got to communicate. You got to stay. You got to keep that fire going. You got to talk to each other. You got to be honest. And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to lean on the honesty, truth thing so much because it's just, and it's nothing that I've done my entire life. I've only done it for about 2 or 3 years.
Right, me too. And I want my man to tell me, hey, babe, we going to the gym,
right?
Because not only because of you know what you look like, but health wise, like you need to start walking some more. Because there's a lot of men whose wives have gotten that way because she took offense when he said something. So now you went from 170 pounds when he said something to you, like, hey, you don't go to gym with me. Oh, you trying to call me fat? To now you 210. Like, we can't be offended by what a person says to us out of love.
Right.
Now, I'm not talking about somebody, you know, calling you a fat bee and you know, talking crazy to you. I'm talking about when your man comes and says, hey, babe, you know, the baby's 2 now. I'm going to put a treadmill downstairs. You want to do the gym in the house, or
what I would tell is, like, if it's vice versa, lead. That's what men have to lead. When I made the choice to go back to the gym, my wife followed.
Right.
She followed because I mean, you know, I got the who you getting off, who you trying to get fined for, you know, those type of things. Like, nah, I'm trying to take care of myself. I want to look good for myself. And little by little, she came as well. You know, when we got divorced, one of the first things she told me, she said, you know, I really missed going to the gym and you pushing me. You were my motivation. Wow. She didn't like it all the time when we went, but she appreciated it. You know, and it's like, and now she's like, dang, I really wish I had that. You know, it's just like, that's why the marriage didn't last, because you didn't realize things till so much later. And she didn't have a group of girlfriends that would be honest with her and go, hey, girl, you don't want to be out here. You don't want to be single. You know, make it work. I tell people all the time, divorce is the last thing. That's the last thing you do.
Right.
Because you got to, at the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and go, did I put my all in to save this? Because when it goes apart and there's children involved, the children, when they grow up and become adults, they're going to be like, did you fight? Did you really try? You know, this and that. So I took that into account with my daughter. And I can honestly sit her down, look at, I tried.
Yes.
I really tried. So it's like, that's the only way that I can have peace today. That's the only way. So it's like, everything I believe in, it starts with you. Stop looking for somebody to fix your problems. Ooh. You got to be real with yourself.
That's why this is my co-host. That's why this is my co-host, because they know I'm straight, no chaser. Yeah. We're going to take excuses away. Like, nope.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's like, don't do that. You know, it's like, just
our body 01. I'm sorry, I had to put my glasses on because she said that's your. She said that's your auntie. That's a cute bald head. I said, oh, she's shooting her shot. Okay, auntie.
She know I'm talking to her. She know I'm talking to her too.
Oh, okay.
I was on her.
Like, wait a minute.
She's 61. She's 61 years old. Looks great for her age, but my Prince Charming is gonna find me at the grocery store. Mm-mm.
Don't be getting on auntie. I know. Don't be getting on auntie. I'm sorry. Because I'm an auntie. I'm an auntie. I'm not going to let you get on auntie.
Call me after this.
Yes. I was affected because he was rude to me in his conversation to me about my weight. Yeah, we don't want to be rude. We don't want to be rude to anybody about anything that we need. We don't want to be rude to people, but I understand you were offended, but I don't know if you guys went to counseling or had to talk to each other, but you got to tell people, like, I really want to work out, but your comment, you know, affected me in a negative way instead of pushing me to go to the gym. I mean, we got to be able to communicate with our significant others, because if you were affected because he was rude, then of course you're going to probably be resistant to go on to do what's actually best for you. And we got to not let people turn us away from what's best from us based on the way that they delivered something to us. Right. Now that I don't know if you're still with him, but you know, nobody should be rude to you. And that's probably just a place where you guys need helpful communication or help within your relationship. And I say this all the time to people. We will maintain a car. We will go every 3,000 miles to get an oil change. but we won't check on each other in a relationship every 3 months to say, how you feeling? You good? Have I offended you? Are we okay? I noticed that you were a little quiet at dinner. Is that we don't maintain our relationships, but we maintain our appliances in our house. We maintain that iPhone. If that memory getting too full, if we drop it and crack the screen, we got to start to think about each other the way that we think about the things that we have. Because nothing, a relationship is not going to sustain itself without maintenance. From whether you need a counselor, a coach, whether both of y'all need to go to therapy separately or together, but you have to maintain your relationship like you maintain all of the things around you that's important. You're not gonna let that low tire, when that light come on, you're gonna go and be like, oh, I need to go and put some air in my tire. So there's lights coming on in a relationship when people are quiet, when people are silent treatment in, when people are sleeping all the way on the other side of the bed. You have to realize those things are the light going off in your car of your relationship. Like, hazards, warning sign, there's some lights on in here. And that way we can maintain our relationship. So, Lamar, we can talk forever.
I know.
So we're going to hop off now. We hope that you will join us on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network for Looking for Love. And we talk about all things love, relationships for Generation X and beyond. We are here for an older crowd to see what the miss is when we are trying to date, be loved, and to be honest. So thank y'all for tuning in to
Thank you.
Looking for Love